In this episode, we will compare some of the most famous brownie recipes and show you which recipe provides the most delicious and fudgy brownie, so you can stop being disappointed by all the ultimate brownie recipes out there. We did a lot of research, rebaking and testing, brownie science in other words. In this video we will show you 3 famous and popular recipes which all have different methods of preparation and ingredients. One of these recipes is our winner of the best fudgy brownie, so stay tuned to find out which one we favor. Our contenders are the currently viral Reddit recipe from Moonjelly33, which was rebaked by Cupcake Jemma. Brian Lagerstrom's brownie recipe, which uses some aging methods of the batter and the brownie. And Babish recipe, which has some nice extra ingredients for the perfect brownie but is the easiest one to bake. Here's a very quick sneak peek of our results, but we will not tell you which one is the one. So let's start with the viral Reddit brownie, which was recooked by Cupcake Jemma. On the right side you see our result, and on the left side the result of Cupcake Jemma. I think our brownie came out quite nice and they look pretty similar. You see a nice shiny crust and the inside looks super fudgy and soft. But keep in mind that the recipe only recommends a chill out time of about 30 to 40 minutes. Of course our brownie is then still nice and soft on the inside. Let's have a quick look at the ingredients. In addition to the typical brownie ingredients like flour, chocolate, cocoa powder and eggs, and let's not forget the instant coffee powder, vanilla and salt to emphasize the chocolate taste, this recipe also uses brown sugar in addition to white sugar. And what really shocked me, they use a ton of sugar. For more extra flavor they brown their butter. When it comes to the preparation of the brownie, there are 2 special techniques. Firstly, this recipe is browning the butter. Secondly, this recipe also recommends to whisk the eggs until they are foamy. For very moist and rich brownies, stop after 45 minutes. For slightly more height and fluff, whip for about 8 to 10 minutes until very thick and pale. This idea can be traced back to Brave Tart and is used by several recipes. I'll give you a quick walk through the steps of the recipe. Start by browning the butter, pour the browned hot butter over the chopped chocolate and cocoa powder. Stir until completely melted and combined, add instant coffee and salt. In a stand mixer, mix eggs, white and brown sugar and vanilla foamy. We stopped after 5 minutes as we prefer moist brownies. Now add the melted chocolate butter mixture, fold in the flour by hand, and lastly add some chopped chocolate. Bake it for about 25 minutes. After baking, let it cool down for about 30 minutes and then it's ready to be cut into the brownie pieces. So let's taste test these brownies. They are super moist and fudgy. You see the nicely melted chocolate chunks, which I really like. But for a brownie I think it's cheating to eat them while they are still relatively fresh out of the oven. When they cool down, often they dry out and lose some of their fudginess. But if you eat your brownie only freshly out of the oven, the consistency of the brownie is very good. Maybe a little bit too flowy. Now moving on to the taste. They are way too sweet and the taste is a little bit on the cheap side, not chocolatey enough. I definitely would prefer way less sugar. So all in all, they are quite good, especially fresh out of the oven, but after cooling down they do not have the typically fudgy brownie consistency. They remind me more of a flowy chocolate cake, like maybe a chocolate souffle. The taste is not convincing. But the nice thing is, you can eat a satisfying brownie after a little more than 1 hour. So if you are craving a brownie but you are too lazy to wait, then go for it. So for the rating, as this is our first brownie, it gets to first place as of now without any effort. Let's move on to Brian Lagerstrom's recipe, which has some more unusual ingredients and special techniques which claim to provide more fudginess. This recipe takes a bit longer and you have to put in more effort. So on the right side you see our result, which comes freshly out of the fridge. On the left side, Brian's brownie definitely looks nicer and not as dry as ours. But I think our fridge was very cold. Let's have a look at the ingredients. Brian also uses a mixture of brown and white sugar, but way less in the total amount. He also browns the butter, but he also uses olive oil, which should provide extra chewiness as it is not a solid fat like butter. I am not sure about the type of oil he is using as an olive oil, as I would prefer a neutral oil. For the chocolate, he almost uses 100 grams more chocolate than the Reddit recipe, and he uses buttermilk to balance the sweetness. The other ingredients are very similar to the other brownie recipes. When it comes to techniques, this recipe has some tricks. First, Brian also recommends to whisk the eggs until they are foamy, which according to Brave Tart and also already mentioned in the Reddit recipe, results in a light but fudgy brownie. Brian uses some aging and chill steps in the recipe. He lets the finished batter chill in the fridge before baking, and he also lets the baked brownie age in the fridge before serving. Both for more fudginess and so that all the flavors can combine and mix. Again, here's a very quick walkthrough of the recipe. Brown the butter. Brian has his own special way to do this. Add the chocolate to the hot butter, let it melt, and add instant espresso powder. Whip the eggs together with sugars until they are nice and foamy for about 5 minutes. Now add the buttermilk, olive oil and vanilla and stream in the buttered chocolate mixture. Mix up the dry ingredients, flour, cocoa powder and salt. Add the dry ingredients step by step to the egg mixture and do not overmix. Put the batter in a form and add some chopped chocolate. Before baking the batter, cover it in some plastic wrap and let it hydrate in the fridge for 2 to 24 hours. This way all the flavors are unified and the brownie results in even more fudginess. After hydrating, bake the brownie at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for about 25 minutes. Let it cool down. When cooled down, let the brownie age in the fridge overnight. And now you can enjoy them, so it takes quite some time. Let's try them. We wanted to taste them directly out of the fridge, and we also put one in the microwave for 10 seconds so that it is not as cold, but also not melted. The cold brownie looks very dry and nothing like Brian's brownie, but the taste was actually incredibly good, so much better than the Reddit brownie. There are really more interesting flavors inside. Unlike the Reddit brownie, you do not only taste sugar, so this is really good. It is nice and chocolatey and you have some more flavors which I cannot really describe, but I really like the taste. Maybe it could be even a tad more chocolatey. For the consistency, as I mentioned, it looks dry, but it isn't dry at all. Here you can see that the consistency is more like a soft chocolate bar. But that's also not a brownie consistency that I'm looking for. Now let's try the warmed up brownie. Yeah, actually, you do not want to try that at home. It's way too flowy. It's like eating a chocolate cream that you spread on a cake. So let's rate this one. As the taste is so much better and more interesting than the Reddit one, and the consistency is also good when cold, Brian goes into the lead. Okay, our last contender is Babish recipe, which does not require a long aging and hydrating process. It is even easier and quicker to make than the Reddit recipe, as you do not have to brown your butter. Again, on the right side you see our result and on the left side you see Babish result. Our brownie has some very cakey edges compared to Babish brownie, but the inside is super nice, soft, moist and fudgy. Babish indeed uses some unique ingredients. Instead of normal all-purpose flour, he uses bread flour. The higher amount of gluten provides more chewiness. He also adds baking powder, which is very unusual for brownies, but we give it a try. Babish also uses oil in addition to butter, but not olive oil, but vegetable oil. But he does not brown the butter. For more chewiness, he uses 2 additional egg yolks, and in contrast to the other 2 recipes, Babish only uses white sugar and no brown sugar. Babish does not use any special technique. He even does not use a stand mixer, but he just does it all by hand. So this one is really the easiest and quickest recipe. So again, here's a super quick summary of the recipe steps. In a bowl, add sugar, melted butter, instant espresso powder, vanilla, eggs and egg yolks, and mix until thoroughly combined. Add cocoa powder and vegetable oil and combine. In an extra bowl, combine bread flour, salt and baking powder and add this mixture together with chopped chocolate to the egg mixture. Fold everything together. Babish mentioned that there is no over-mixing as the resulting gluten development provides more chewiness. Again, bake the batter for about 25 to 35 minutes until your degree of doneness has been achieved. We like it a little bit on the underbaked side, so we took the brownie out of the oven after 25 minutes. And now to the rating of our final contender. This brownie looks a little bit cake-like, not glossy at all, but let's cut it into little pieces and try them. We did not put them in the fridge, but let them cool off for about 2 hours at room temperature. From the inside they look really amazing, super soft and gooey, maybe a little bit too flowy and not solid enough. But look at it, when we squeeze the brownie, how nice that looks. What I do not like are the cakey edges. I don't know why our brownie developed them. Taste-wise, they are so soft and gooey and you can taste the chocolate. Maybe it could do with a little bit more chocolate, but that could also just be us. On the bright side, it is not too sweet, which I really like. This is a solid brownie taste, but the taste of Brian's brownie was a bit more interesting. I like the consistency of this one, but it is not fudgy, but rather gooey and melty in my opinion, which is also nice. So overall, this is a very good brownie, especially for the amount of time and effort. The taste is very good. But Brian's brownie has more taste facets. The consistency of this brownie is the best so far. It's still not the fudgy brownie that we are looking for, but the gooey chocolate center will definitely satisfy your chocolate cravings. So for us, this brownie takes first place when considering how easy it is to make. If we ignore the effort, however, then Brian's brownie takes the overall win. Let us know in the comment section below if you agree with our verdict and which recipe you prefer. And don't forget to hit the like button and follow us. In the next video we will combine the learnings from these 3 recipes into our Beyond Ultimate Brownie. I promise you that you'll really enjoy that video and recipe if you're into chocolate like we are.